Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, what if I told you there's a way to predict a relationship's failure with, stunning accuracy, all just by spotting 4 specific communication patterns? Well, today we're diving into a psychological framework that does exactly that. And, even better, it shows us how to fix it.
And yeah, it sounds super dramatic, I get it. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. But that's the metaphor a psychologist uses for 4 communication styles that, if you don't get them in check, can really spell the end of a relationship.
So who came up with this? Well, that would be Dr. John Gottman. This guy is a total pioneer in the field. He spent his entire career, scientifically observing thousands of couples to figure out the secret sauce, what makes relationships work and what makes them fall apart.
All right, let's dig in and see why his work is such a big deal. Why is everyone in the world of relationship psychology taking these 4 horsemen so seriously?
Okay, get ready for this number. Just by watching for these communication patterns, Gottman can predict with over 90% accuracy which couples are going to break up. I mean 90%. That's just a wild level of predictability.
And look, this isn't just some lucky guess. This incredible accuracy is backed by over 40 years of serious scientific research. We're talking thousands of real couples observed in real time. This is the real deal.
So you're probably wondering, what are these 4 destructive patterns? Let's meet them one by one. We'll start with the one that shows up the most often.
Okay, horseman number 1 is criticism. Now, it's really important to get this. Criticism is not the same as a complaint. Not at all. A complaint is about a specific thing. Criticism, well, that's a personal attack. It's like you're going after their very character, and that just makes them feel totally rejected and hurt. So let's break it down. A complaint might be, hey, I was worried when you were late. It's about an action. But criticism, that sounds more like, you're always late. You're so selfish. See the difference? It's those big sweeping generalizations like you always or you never. And the real danger here is that when criticism becomes a habit, it basically rolls out the red carpet for the next, even more dangerous horseman.
All right, horseman number 2 is contempt. And let me tell you, according to Gottman's research, this is the absolute worst one, the most destructive of all. We're not just talking about a simple disagreement here. This is when things get poisonous. Think mockery, name-calling, eye-rolling, sneering, all that nasty stuff.
I mean, the way Gottman talks about contempt is honestly chilling. He calls it the single greatest predictor of a relationship breaking down. His metaphor? Sulfuric acid for love. Wow. Why? Because it's all about communicating pure disgust. It's basically saying, I'm better than you, and you just can't build a healthy partnership on that.
Well, after all that, it's no surprise what comes next. Horseman number 3, defensiveness. I mean, it's a totally natural reaction, right? When you feel attacked, your first instinct is to defend yourself. But here's the catch. Even though it feels justified, defensiveness just throws fuel on the fire. It only escalates the conflict because you're essentially just blaming them right back. So you've got this cycle of criticism, contempt, and defensiveness, and after a while, all that negativity just becomes too much. It's overwhelming. And that's when the 4th and final horseman shows up, stonewalling. This is when one person just checks out. They withdraw, shut down, and completely stop responding.
Now, this is so important to understand. This isn't just someone giving you the silent treatment. Stonewalling is often a full-on biological response. The person is what Gottman calls physiologically flooded. Their heart is pounding, stress hormones are pumping, and they've hit a point where a rational conversation is literally impossible. They're in survival mode. Okay, so that was pretty grim, right? But here's the good news, and it's really good news. Just knowing about the horsemen is only half the story. Gottman's research also gives us 4 powerful, proven antidotes to fight back and create a much healthier relationship.
And here's the beautiful part. It's a clear path forward. For every single one of those destructive horsemen, there's a specific constructive antidote. And the best part? These are skills you can actually learn and practice.
All right, let's start with criticism. The antidote? It's called a gentle startup. Instead of launching in with an attacking you statement, you start with I. Talk about how you feel, and then state what you need in a positive way. You're taking all the blame out of it, which stops the whole thing from blowing up before it even starts.
So what about that super toxic horseman? Contempt. The antidote is to deliberately build a culture of appreciation and respect. It's simple, but not easy. Instead of insults, you make respectful requests. You express gratitude often. You're basically making a conscious effort to pump positivity back into your relationship.
And this leads to something Gottman calls the magic ratio. He found that for a relationship to be stable and happy, you need at least 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction. Think about that, 5 to 1. All those little moments of appreciation and connection, they build up a kind of emotional bank account that protects you when conflict does happen.
And to break that cycle of defensiveness, the antidote is to take responsibility. And here's the key, even if it's just for a tiny part of the problem. The second you accept even a little bit of responsibility, you can just feel the tension drop. It completely changes the dynamic and opens the door to actually solving the problem together. Last but not least, stonewalling. The antidote here is called physiological self-soothing. It's a fancy term for a simple idea. You have to recognize when you're feeling that flooded sensation, and you have to stop. Agree to take a break, and it has to be at least 20 minutes. That's the magic number for your body to calm down. Go do something totally distracting, and then, only then, can you come back to the conversation.
Okay, so now you've got the toolkit. You know how to spot the 4 horsemen, and you know the antidotes for each one. So, what's the big takeaway here? What's the most important thing to keep in mind?
Here's the bottom line. Just knowing about the 4 horsemen is a huge first step, but knowledge alone isn't going to cut it. It's all about practice. Consistently and intentionally practicing these antidotes is what will actually change the game for how you handle conflict. It's not easy, for sure. It takes real courage to break those old habits, but trust me, the payoff is huge.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with a question to think about. Of these 4 antidotes we've talked about, which one, if you started practicing it today, do you think would make the biggest difference in your life?